um, there was kind of a split reaction in the nation. There were people who looked at that as a clear defeat of the United States military and were saddened by it and were angered at the government for allowing that defeat to happen. But on the other hand, remember, there had been large numbers of people, particularly the younger part of our population, who had been protesting the Vietnam War from the very beginning. And from their point of view, there should never have been a war. The whole issue of communist expansion was a bogeyman or a bogus issue in their mind, and wasn't worth the cost in terms of money or people, and so they were in a way kind of glad that the U.S. had lost the war, as it were. The military people generally felt victorious as far as the war was concerned. There was any major battle that U.S. forces were in was won by the U.S. forces. The U.S. military had labored under some political constraints. We were not allowed to go into certain areas. We couldn't go into Laos, for example, couldn't go into Cambodia, for example, and pursue the Viet Cong and the North Vietnamese Army forces into their sanctuary locations. There were targets in North Vietnam that we were not allowed to bomb. All of this was for political reasons, geopolitical reasons. It had to do with our relationships with other governments. We were concerned if we went into certain areas of North Vietnam that the Chinese would get involved in the things, and we didn't want to, expand the war to deal with the Chinese. That is, the political people didn't want to. So there was kind of a mixed review. My own personal reaction was that we had 10 years of treasure expended, and it was a waste. We had invested large amounts of money and large amounts of personnel over a 10-year period of time. When the peace talks were concluded, there was a democratic government in place in South Vietnam, and we had made pledges to support that government in terms of material, military material and money. And after a couple of years, the support went away. The politics changed, and South Vietnam was left to its own and was in no way able to resist the force that came down from the north. And so the South was overtaken, and North and South Vietnam then became the Socialist Republic of Vietnam, a one-country situation. So we looked at it as a tremendous waste. You go to the Washington, D.C., to the Vietnam Memorial Wall, stand in front of that wall and just look at the thousands and thousands and thousands of names and reflect on the history that occurred around the middle 1970s. And it's really hard to come away with a conclusion other than it was just a horrendous waste of talent, of personnel, and of money.